We have literally been brainwashed. Grab a coffee because this one is going to be a long one. Before we get into it, I want you to just picture in your head what you think an athlete looks like and hold that thought for a second. I use the word athlete a lot in my content because I am literally an athlete in 2 sports, but I'm getting a lot of backlash about it right now, telling me I'm not an athlete purely based on what my body looks like. The literal definition of an athlete is a person who is proficient at sports and other forms of physical exercise. So basically anyone that competes in a sport is an athlete, like it or not. I would also argue that anyone performing a specific skill within a sport, especially like a high level skill like Olympic weightlifting or like gymnastics, they are also an athlete even if they don't compete. If you do any form of physical exercise proficiently, you are literally an athlete. It is not based on physical appearance at all. I hadn't noticed a lot of people talking about this, so I started digging and I found this one video that covers it from the male perspective.
Again, it is one of the contributors to the mass body dysmorphia in the fitness space, especially among young men.
He basically goes after athleanx.
So the implication of this post is that people that watch him should be striving for or maintaining to look like an athlete, 5 to 10% body fat. And I'm here to tell you, that's a crock of shit.
He talks about how he's branded himself an athlete and has basically come up with a definition for what an athlete looks like that is completely inaccurate and not tied to being good at a physical sport at all.
Any athlete on a team who watches Jeff Cavalier and they get all cut up and shredded, their performance is going to decrease. Jeff Cavalier does not look like an athlete. He looks like a fitness model. That is far different from being an actual athlete.
I also found a few videos on Gymshark athletes and they're choosing to use the word athlete in order to brand their ambassadors and how this is having an impact on how we view what an athlete looks like.
And they've also got Gymshark athletes who are basically ambassadors who also have to represent their brand. Do proper athletes, bodybuilders, powerlifters, take them seriously? Well, the first thing I want to talk about is the Gymshark athletes themselves. So these guys are representing Gymshark. They're the ones that are meant to represent what it's like going to the gym, how to feel good in the clothes you're wearing. The biggest thing we're seeing is a lot of their influencers aren't actually natural. I guess this is part of the fitness industry. It's so competitive to get the views, to get the content out there which people are actually going to engage with. You have to look the best you possibly can.
And this got me thinking about different brands. A lot of brands have chosen to represent fitness models or influencers, and there's very little representation of actual competitive athletes wearing the clothing because often they don't have the athlete's body that the brands want. Women in Sport UK just posted this figure that 45% of teenage girls don't want to get into sport because they don't believe they have the right body shape for sports, which is crazy because the athletes come in all shapes and sizes. Athletes actually look like this, like Emily Campbell, who is an Olympic weightlifter and gold medalist, like Mary Earps, who is one of the lionesses that was in the team that won the Euros for England.
Chloe Kelly are the real things!
As well as Chloe Kelly, who famously took her top off when she scored the goal. We've got male athletes like Tyson Fury and LeBron James mentioned in this video in comparison to athleanx's definition of an athletic body composition.
The most famous basketball player in the world, you can't deny his success, probably in the 11 to 12, maybe up to 13, 14% range. So he's not in the athlean range. Tyson Fury, he is definitely not very lean. Now he did lose a lot of weight. He is a professional boxer. He is probably in the, 19% range, maybe around 20, something like that.
Both have a body fat percentage above 10% at least. Serena Williams, who is an incredible tennis player. Ronda Rousey, who again, MMA fighter, she's amazing. Georgie Taylor Brown, who is a top level triathlete. And she's an example on the other end of the spectrum where they're not all super jacked, but they are quite lean still. And I've got some others like Cameron Rogers, who is a hammer thrower. Donna Moore, who is the strongest strong woman in the world, and she is incredible. Tom Stoltman, who is the world's strongest man, and the Stoltman brothers generally, because Luke is also an incredible athlete. And one from CrossFit, Laura Hovarth, who is one of the athletes with a slightly higher body fat, but it literally doesn't matter what your body fat percentage is. In fact, having a higher body fat percentage in some sports can lead to better performance and better health all round. Athletes' body types vary dramatically. If you compete in a sport, the chances are your body is going to change shape in order to suit that sport. And this has happened with my body personally throughout the last 6 years of my sports performance. But no matter how my body changed shape, I was still an athlete at every single point. Athletes vary in body type, but often in marketing, it doesn't vary the kind of bodies that we see. Most of them are fitness models and influencers with a super low body fat. And these images are not representative of the actual athletes wearing them. And this can have an impact on what we think an athlete looks like. I'm going to show a few different influencers. I have nothing against any of these as people, and a lot of them are also athletes. They do compete in sports here and there, but a lot of the time their main goal is aesthetics. They maintain a certain appearance to get views and sponsorships. We don't see this wide range of what athletes really look like. They choose a lot of the people to represent brands and marketing based off the way their body looks, not necessarily how they perform in a sport. And this massively skews what we think an athlete looks like. And a lot of them have a body fat that's lower than what is optimal to perform in a sport. There are other risks to having a lower body fat. It can have a massive impact on hormone function, as well as not having that energy availability that you need in order to perform in a sport. If you've ever been super lean, you can really feel the impact on your energy levels. But for women, you can also lose your cycle, which can result in infertility and also cause osteoporosis. And for men, it can decrease your testosterone levels apparently, which I've only just found out. So although a lot of people might think it looks cool to be super lean, it's often not optimal for health. And while I do support everybody in what they want to do with their bodies, we need to put the responsibility on the people running marketing campaigns and choosing models for shoots. This is having a huge impact on actual athletes. I'm not going to name her, but I had a conversation with an Olympic triathlete who is a multiple-time gold medalist, and she believes that she doesn't look like an athlete, which is insane. She's a gold medalist. Holly Bradshaw, who was a pole vaulter that refused to wear crop tops and the bikini bottoms that they're told they have to wear for pole vault. But one of the reasons that she said for this was because she gets so much hate online from people telling her that she doesn't look athletic because she has a bit of body fat on her stomach, and also because she feels that she doesn't look like an athlete, even though she is clearly an athlete. And she is quite clearly a healthy weight. If we go into this further, you can see how this could be impacting a whole generation of women thinking that they need to look super lean, and how that might impact their hormones and their general health. And for men, on top of that, a lot of them feel like they also have to be massive and jacked and lean at the same time. With people like athleanx trying to tell you that you need to be like 8% body fat in order to look like an athlete and also have a load of muscle. Chasing an aesthetic goal is totally okay, but it's also fine to completely reject the beauty standards and just train to literally be an athlete and to be fit and to compete in a sport. A lot of us will likely fall somewhere in the middle. What we really need to change is how we think people's bodies should look, and maybe just let them do their thing instead of putting them into a box of what we think an athlete should look like. Think back to that image that you had in your head to begin with. Let me know if it's changed after watching this video. We can all be athletes, and you don't need a certain body type to be one. You just need to find a sport that you enjoy. Crossfitters are often a bit of an exception. They all look super jacked and super lean all year round, and a lot of people think they're basically all on steroids because that can't happen. If you want to find out the answer to that, then watch this video next. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed the video, as it supports me and helps my videos in the algorithm. And feel free to send this to someone in your life that has a skewed perspective on what an athlete looks like, to remind them that they are an athlete. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!